Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Unheard Voices, a series where I take you into the lives of people affected by the coronavirus. You don't have to have had the disease to have been affected by it. In this episode, I want to take you into Italy. I asked myself when I started seeing Italy on the news, what do I really know about Italy? What I know are the things that I've seen in movies, what I learned in history class about their 1900s. I didn't know much. And then I started watching the news with the knowledge that I had, which was minimal. I began asking questions, and I'm sure a lot of people have questions too. What's going on in Milan? Are the people scared? How do the citizens feel? How are people dealing with this? Is it as post-apocalyptic as it seems on the news? Who is to blame? And how is the media handling all of this? In this episode, I want to answer some of those questions for you. I want to take you into the life of Federico. Let's meet him.
Hi everyone, I am Federico. I am in Italy, in Milan. Milan is the capital of Lombardy, which is the region where the outbreak of coronavirus started in this country. I'm not from here, I'm from the south. I moved here in Milan 4 years ago. I graduated here in my bachelor and now I'm attending a master degree in economics and political science at the University of Milan. On the top of the cathedral, there's a golden figure, a golden statue of the Virgin Mary, which is called La Madonnina. That means Virgin Mary in Italian, the mother of Jesus, and she is supposed to protect Milan. So we really need her protection now. I was personally prepared to see an outbreak of the coronavirus in this country. I think it was quite obvious to see the epidemic starting in this region in Lombardy because it's wealthy and international and there are a lot of people coming here from all around the world. What was really unexpected was how strong it is and how fast he's spreading the virus all around the north of the country. I think this is the worst part. No one was really prepared to observe something so strong, something hitting us so strongly. The day the outbreak started, it was just a regular day. I was in the university with my friends and we were studying, we were having some fun. We were just doing that kind of stuff that young people do. This is the area of my university and of course it's empty because the university is still open, but only for researchers that are working on a vaccine. If you're a student and you come here, you will find nothing. Basically, there are no lessons. Maybe some libraries are open, but it's only for researchers. Usually, this place is full of people, it's full of life. But of course, now it's a little bit different. Our healthcare system is really efficient. It is completely free for people to get tested. We knew that we were looking for patient zero to realize when the epidemic started to control the spreading of the virus. After some hours, after like 10 hours, we realized that it was almost impossible to find patient zero and that the virus was spreading really fast all across the cities of the north of Italy. Here is basically written that for coronavirus, all the churches are closed and there are no collective prayers. And I think it will be the same in the next few weeks. This gallery is called Galleria Vittorio Emanuele and usually it's so crowded that it's almost impossible to walk here. Speaking about what I am doing to avoid the risk of being infected or infect other people, I am basically forcing myself to a self-imposed quarantine even if I feel perfectly well. All the lectures that I was attending in my university were with international students. I think I was quite exposed to the risk of getting the virus. I'm not hanging out, I'm not meeting with my friends or my girlfriend. In general, even if Milan is not in the lockdown, this city is quite dangerous from this point of view. My family is doing the same in the south. Even if the south is not dangerous for now, they are trying to not to going out too frequently. They are both working for an hospital. Unfortunately, for people working into hospitals, it's easier. There's a higher risk to get this disease. Unfortunately, they cannot refuse to work these days. This is how I am dealing with the quarantine and the eventuality of a lockdown. This is some hand sanitizer gel, and you can use it without water, and it's really useful. And this is a bottle of spray sanitizer, and those are the masks. I have some of them. It's quite useless to wear the masks if you are not sick, but it's good to have some of them. The theory of the virus being here since January is getting more and more realistic. We didn't know where the epidemic started for real. That was the point where when people started panicking. Everyone started running to the supermarkets to buy food supplies or to the pharmacies to buy masks. And that was something really stupid because we were basically creating an environment where it was easier for the virus to spread. Overcrowded places, overcrowded supermarkets. That was something that it should really be avoided when you first see an outbreak in your country, but it's basically impossible. After that day, the numbers were constantly growing. We, in general, people and also the government really underestimate this threat at the very beginning. That's why at a certain point we were basically forced to start the lockdown of some cities. When the outbreak started, I went to the supermarket to buy some stock food, like some canned food, some beans and a lot of tuna for proteins. Of course I'm buying some fresh food day by day, but this is useful if you want to start a quarantine or if you found yourself in a lockdown. And I have more canned food in here, and since in Italy we consume a lot of coffee, I also bought half a kilo of coffee. This is Turkish coffee because I like it more than the Italian one. I also have some clementines for C vitamin, which is really useful to boost your immune system and your antibodies. Since I am Italian, I have kilos and kilos of pasta and rice, and pasta in Italy is incredibly cheap, so it's really okay. And I also have a lot of junk food, like biscuits, Nutella biscuits that I shouldn't eat because I'm intolerant to lactose, and some sweet stuff. My family from the south sent me some nutritional supplements. It's like honey, it's something that is produced by bees, and it's nice to boost your immune system and your antibodies. I have a lot of toilet paper and bottles of water as well. I should probably buy some more water, but in Milan, tap water is drinkable. It's okay to drink it. It's really safe. Milan is not in the lockdown, but you can easily see that the streets are mostly empty. The public transports are mostly empty. All the schools are closed. All the universities are closed. And as far as I know, a lot of shops aren't allowed to be open after 6 p.m. The worst thing is that all these measures, these draconian measures, seems not to be enough. The virus is still spreading really fast in the north of Italy. We cannot afford to lock down Milan. This city alone produces the 10% of national GDP. It may cost too much to lock down Milan. The worst part is that a lot of students from the south are here in the north of Italy. A lot of them, as soon as we heard about this lockdown, decided to run away from the north and going back to the south. So now we are risking that these people were bringing the disease from the north to the south, where the healthcare system is not so efficient as here, where the population is older. This is really dangerous because in the next few days we will see what will happen, but we are basically risking to have an epidemic in the whole country, not just in the north. What is quite surprising is that the city is still alive. There are people walking around, probably it's less crowded than usual. You can see that all the public services are still on, everything is still working, no one is wearing masks. And it's pretty surprising how there's still traffic in this point. I'm really surprised that less than 2 weeks after the beginning of the outbreak, people are already around. This is not safe at all. Speaking about the reaction of the government, I think the government is not being so efficient in this situation. At first, I should say that Italy is not a federal country. We have 21 regions, and each region has a certain amount of autonomy on areas of policy making. The healthcare system is one of them. We have 21 regions, 21 different healthcare systems. This is absolutely bad in this situation, especially that people are moving all around the country to run away from this disease. It's basically impossible to track each of them. It's impossible to figure out where the outbreak is moving, where it could be the next outbreak in all around the country. When you have 21 different veto players, when you have so many veto players in your country, it's basically impossible to take decisions in a quickly and efficient way. I think the lack of efficiency is playing a role in the spreading of this disease. In each level of governance, both a national and a local one, everyone is not taking this threat too seriously. At the very beginning, the national government and also the local ones are really concerned about the economy, but no one is really considering what could happen to our healthcare system if this epidemic spreads all around the country, and what could happen, because the population of Italy is generally really old, so I think the death rate will be higher than abroad. This could be a problem. The healthcare system could basically collapse.
Usually this tram is full of people. It's full of students going to the university. I didn't try the subway yet, but I think also the subway is perfectly working, like all the other public transports. But I don't want to use the subway.
Another problem that we are having is the role of the media and newspapers in general. I think that in this country we have some issues with the free speech and fake news and all this kind of stuff. In the very beginning, the media, I think they played a huge role in the spreading of panic in population of this country, but now they are doing exactly the opposite. They are trying to minimize the threat. We are constantly hearing that this virus is just a flu, it's something that we should not worry about. I think also the media realize that there's a huge risk of an economic crisis. It's really important to change the behavior of the people, but this is not the correct way. For an Italian now, all the situation is really confusing. Everything is so confusing because there's a lack of transparency also in the media. There's a lack of information about what is happening for real.
Usually here is full of tourists and really overcrowded. There's a street artist that is performing Leaning on a Prayer. It's incredible how relaxing he is walking here without all the tourists that usually are in this place. I really love the Cathedral of Milan. It's one of my preferred places.
I am really worried about what will happen in the next few weeks. I think we will not stop the spreading of the disease. I think this disease will spread also in the center and in the south of Italy. All this stuff will have some heavy consequences on our economy. If you think that the economy of this country is entirely based on tourism, this thing is affecting a lot the image of Italy abroad. We will have something like an economic crisis. If this coronavirus stuff becomes a pandemic, we are really risking another financial crisis on a global scale. This is terrible because Italy is really weak from an economic point of view because we are not growing a lot. Our GDP growth is almost zero. Our public debt is really huge because we still didn't properly recover from the last economic crisis. I really hope that the European Central Bank will do something like more quantitative easing, something to save the economy of Italy and Mediterranean Europe in general. I'm not really optimistic about the future and what will happen in the next few weeks and the next few months. I'm hoping for a vaccine, for something that will save us, but the situation is concerning. I'm not really optimistic in general.